go ahead and get started, but, oh, thank you. Got it. If you just got here, please go ahead and put your name in the chat for attendance, so that you can get credit for being here. This will be worth 1 CE credit. Let me see if I can advance my slides. Yes, I can. So if this is where you expected to be, you're in the right place. We're doing an Ask the Expert today. Some of y'all have expressed interest in spending the rest of your money for the year. Sometimes we don't finish out those collection budgets by now. And so we have Cheryl Korte here. She presented for you at our in-service when Baker and Taylor and the other group, sorry, I've already forgotten, were with us to share some info on ordering in their interfaces. And Cheryl got cut a little short because those folks were ready to go, and she has lots more to share with you. So we brought her here today so she can share some more of those great tips. And throughout our program today, go ahead and if you have a question at any time, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat for Cheryl. And then at the end, like after she has done all of the presentation business, we'll go ahead and formally do Q&A. You can raise your hand during that time and we will unmute you, or you can go ahead and still ask in the chat. That's fine too. So if there aren't any questions right this moment, I'm going to stop screen sharing and so that I can keep an eye on those questions in the chat. So without further ado, Ms. Cheryl, are you ready to go?
Yep, I guess so.
All right.
So, well, anyway, I guess I was asked to do this again, and I threw all my notes away from before, so I had to start all over from scratch again. So I entitled this Efficiently Spending Your Book Budget. And I want to show you something here. I've been trying to do that. I don't know. Can you see all those boxes and boxes and boxes? And that's not all of them. I can't get all the way. I've been trying to spend all their money, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of it. I want to get the books ordered as quickly as I can at this point in the year, so as to get everything here that we can before the end of the year and the bills in. So that's why there's such a pile there. And then I still have things I'm ordering now. I ordered today and I have some more to order, and then hopefully everything will be coming in, the bills ready to take up and get paid for the end of the year. Okay. Well, all the tips and tricks that I'm going to tell you today are just from trial and error throughout the years that I've been doing since I started this. So as you start doing this yourself, you'll find what works and does not work for you. You can develop your own little tweaks. The first thing you need to have ready when you start ordering books from places, especially you haven't ordered before, is to have your tax exempt info ready. Sometimes you can just type it in at such as Books for School. I think I just typed it in. I can't remember that I sent it. And another place I have, it's called $5. I just typed it in. And otherwise, they'll ask you to either send it to them, and actually Vivian does that for me. I go and tell her I need a tax exempt form sent. So I really can't tell you how to do that. Vivian does that for me. If you need help with that, I guess I'll send you to Vivian. Okay. And once that information, tax exempt information, is into places like Amazon, Baker and Taylor and all those places, it's good for like 5 years or so, several years. You don't have to give that again. And then they'll want you to update it and they'll tell you. My first go-to when I'm ordering adult books is Baker and Taylor. And there I look at the price and availability, and then I decide whether I'm going to look elsewhere or not. Okay, Sharon, this is where I'd like you to bring that box, that Baker and Taylor screen up if you can. Okay. When I'm ordering at Baker and Taylor, here's the book we chose because it had both of these boxes. You guys can't see my arrow, can you? Okay, thank you. When I'm ordering from there, I'll look and see always if in the central, there's a box there that says in the ordering information place, it says central, and it says on hand 686 books for central, and it says VIP like 15,000 books. I always want to order books that have the central number because that location is picked out to be my central place for books to come from, and they'll get here really quick, like within a week if it's available right then and already published and everything. The VIP is, there's how many books they have in VIP, but that's all over the United States. That's not going to come. Anything in VIP will not be coming from that central location, and it'll take longer, sometimes a lot longer. So I don't normally use that VIP. Well, I never do if I have the central, but if there's only VIP and I can't find it elsewhere at the same price or within very much close to the same price and available elsewhere, I don't use that. I want the book to get here. I don't want to have to wait. Also, that just happened to think of this. If books are on back order, I don't order those either, because they will stay on back order for 6 months if it doesn't come in that time. But if it comes earlier, that's fine. But if it's not coming, then it just sits there for 6 months before they take it out, unless you call. And then there's another thing you have to keep track of, is to call and take them off. You can't just delete it. So if it shows up at another place, such as Amazon or whatever, then here I am stuck with it unless I go in and check. Shows. Other places I look, once I've decided I'm going to go on from Baker and Taylor, if I want to look elsewhere, I'll look at Amazon. Once in a while, I look at Barnes and Noble, and I look at Brodart. However, Brodart has a $2 per shipment minimum fee, and which means the book must be at least $2 less than I can find it elsewhere. Or if it's not available anywhere else, then I'll go there. And per shipment does not mean per order. You might have a big order, but that order is going to get broke up and come, and there might have one book come and there's $2. You might have, well, after you get to so many books, it's a percent, but you could end up having $20 or so in an order because of the per shipment fees. Where Baker and Taylor has a flat fee of 16 cents a book, whether it's one book or if it's 100 books, 16 cents. Large print books, I always order directly through Gale, Thorndike, and Centerpoint. They have the best discounted prices, where usually you can't even get a discount on large print books at the other places, any of them. And once in a while, you'll even find a surcharge put on some large print books. Audiobooks, my first place to go to is Baker and Taylor. They almost always have the best discount. And from there, if they don't have it or it doesn't have the discount, I'll go to Midwest Tape and to Blackstone and to Amazon. And I'll just have to look at all of those and decide which place I want to go to. DVDs and CDs, Amazon is usually the best place, but not always. And then I'll go to Midwest Tape and Baker and Taylor for those items. Kids' books, that's a whole different story. I have found no rhyme or reason in pricing of young kids' books. Ebooks, as I call them, or easy books, discounted prices for them are just all over the place. So, however, books I order for Iola and SEK, the search still starts at Baker and Taylor, and then I continue on as I would for the adult books, because for those places, I'm ordering specific titles for specific needs. Whereas for rotation, I am looking for just good, nice storybooks and nice and nonfiction titles that I feel reflect the interests of Southeast Kansas. And I have found Brodart to be a good place to find kids' books discounted up to $5 and $6 less than elsewhere. Again, rhyme or reason to that? I don't know. Makes no sense to me. But the easy books are the ones that I find discounted a lot more, quite often at Brodart. For rotation books, I start at the discount houses first, and then I'll go back to Baker and Taylor and Brodart if I'm not finding what I want or enough titles. Junior books, juvenile, and YA. The discounted prices for these books are usually the same as for adult fiction books. Again, makes no sense to me, but you just have to keep looking. And see where I am.
Did you want me to demonstrate your books for schools?
That's what I'm at right now. You could bring that up, books for school page. This is a most excellent place to go. Yeah, I don't have to pick my book up and show you now. As this is one of the first places I go to when I'm ordering rotation books. I have books for school. And you can search over here in the value book inventory. And then when you go on through there, I think it gets you into a section where books will start at like $2. Well, right there on her page, there's there's $250. There's a $25 book. And then on up. And yes, they have higher price books, but those while there on that page she's got are $2.50. And they're excellent books. Absolutely good books. The quality of the book, the story books, they're good books. It's a great place to go to. And they do have newer titles, but they're going to be more expensive than those. So it's all in what you're looking for. Oh, and books for school. Yes. They have a $15 shipping fee. Excuse me. So when you are ordering from them, you need to keep this $15 in mind and make sure you order enough books at a time to make your book still affordable by having to spend that $15. And the books to me have always come by FedEx. And sometimes those orders have been shipped out the same day as I place the order. And I've never gotten any from there in over usually less than a week, in a few days. Like if I order on a Monday, I've usually got them by Friday. That might be a little bit different right now during the holidays, but you get them quick. Junior Library Guild. Do you have them on there? They also have what they call a backlist you can go into. And those books start at $5. And again, when you get in those cheaper books, they're going to be older titles, but nothing wrong with the older titles. And they have newer ones also that are going to cost more. The shipping is free with Junior Library Guild.
Cheryl, I was looking at Junior Library Guild's backlist this morning, and some of the books that they're $12, so they're not quite $5, but they're some of the books that we've looked at this year on the Notables Committee. So
yes, they start at $5 and go up. Yes, and then newer titles will be a little bit more expensive than the $5. I think you'll find the $5 ones to be quite a bit older titles. But yes, they start at $5 and they go up, and they're in the backlist. And I was going to get to that in a second, but since we're there, I just got a email from Junior Library Guild today. They have a sale that's just this week, and it's use a code, get one free, and you buy one and you get one. Does this show? Can you see this? Okay. That I just got that today. I haven't looked in at it or anything. It says last 1 week, use that code, get one free. And so that just came today. Haven't even seen it. Another place I use a lot is Scholastic. And Carolyn Chadwell is the name of the lady that I work with, usually directly. I go to there when I'm wanting, unless I'm wanting I go to her unless I'm just wanting to order 1 or 2 titles, something like that. Then I'll go to the site and just order it on site. And there's free shipping there. And Carolyn's great to work with, and she helps me out quite often. And I just talked to her last week, and I'd asked her if I could share her information with you guys if anyone was interested, and she was delighted that I would do that. So if you're interested in Scholastic, I have her info here. She also just called me today and to remind me of they have a special going on right now, and it's going to end. The 17th would be the last day. And she also wanted me to tell you that the 17th is their last work day for this year, that they will close down until right after the first of the year, the 3rd or something like that. And once you've gotten connected to these booksellers, you'll start receiving all these sale notices that I get, and there are good ones sent out. Centerpoint just sent out a year-end special, 25% off on fewer than 25 books, 40% off on 25 or more, and free shipping on 5 books or more. So there's something in there for everyone. Gail just sent out an amazing sale list of mostly hardcover titles for $8 each and free shipping. And that sale with Gail lasts until the 23rd. But that's a first come, first serve. So you need to get in there. If you're interested in that, you need to get in there and get your selection made as quick as possible, because they'll go. And then I just told you about the Junior Library Guild. Oh, and I have a new source that I just ordered from. I have not received the books. It's called $5 a book. It came to me in the mail. It's this, $5 a book, and they appear to be high quality library bound hardcover books for $5 each. Shipping is either 10% or $9.95. The minimum is $9.95. I've placed an order for graphic novels there, but I haven't gotten them yet, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. And that's another really good source. I think I'll probably be using, you got it. There it is. Using quite a bit more too. And I think that's all of my notes. And so if you've got questions, I think we're ready for questions. And I'm going to keep my notes this time, not throw them away.
Thank you,
Goodness.
Cheryl. Yes, hold on to those notes. I believe Sharon put in the chat for us that we will be putting together a list of those resources that Cheryl has been sharing with you. So the particular websites and vendors that she uses for each format or department, and as well as some of those discounts that we're talking about. And maybe that contact info for Scholastic. We will go ahead and take some questions now. You can put them in the chat. You can click the little raise your hand thing. And we'll go ahead and unmute you. Oh, look at that. Oh, Sharon would like to show off some Ingram. I think that is a great idea. And that is the other vendor that I couldn't think of earlier. Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, so SEKLS is Baker and Taylor. I'm most familiar with Ingram, so this was one of the other vendors that demonstrated, and it works sort of the same. It's a place for you to get books at a like 41% discount. I think Baker and Taylor might be at 42%, but it's definitely much reduced from what you would pay even through Amazon. Amazon only gives you about a 35% discount. And as with hers, let me see, what was that book that was it Patterson Noise?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's not it.
That's not it.
No.
Let me turn around.
It was Jane.
The Noise, yeah.
Okay. There we go. So it looks pretty similar. Again, it'll tell you how many titles are on hand. As the person who's doing the selecting, I look at this not to see how fast it's going to arrive, but I look to see how popular it is. If this has thousands or tens of thousands of books on hand or on order, then that's like the definition of a bestseller. So that might be one that you need. But same, you can price the title, you can find information about it, you can find out who has it, where it's going to come from. So we normally get our stuff from Indiana. So anyway, I just wanted to give you another option that's available to you, and they'll sign you up an account and make it tax exempt, and you can have Baker and Taylor and Ingram both if you want to. It's just how much you can keep track of. So I'm done.
I'd like to add that when you do sign up and get an account with Ingram or Baker and Taylor, there are collection development tools that you can use. I know at least, I believe it was Baker and Taylor, but I'd have to look again. There are a couple of spots where you can find lists that have already been curated by librarians. So they will have a list of thrillers or a list of the upcoming stuff. And that can just, it does some of the work for you to help you in that selection. I've tried to show off those tools before, even though the vendors call them free tools, you still have to already have an account to use them. So it's worthwhile to, to make that connection with those vendors.
Do any of you that are here use Automatically Yours or scanning orders to get books sent based on authors that you've selected? Cheryl, I think I know what our next talk is going to be about.
I think so.
And that is another great way to save yourself some of that legwork for selection. And I know all of you are busy running libraries. So take the help where you can find it.
So scanning orders are one use for them is just to let you know what you pick them based on author. So if you know what authors your patrons prefer, you can set up a standing order for that author and it will give you a list. You don't have to have them automatically sent, even if it says Automatically Yours, they'll send you a list. So then it's a way to stay aware of if there's a series that you're trying to follow, you are it brings to your attention new books that are coming out, and of course for Patterson, there's like 7 in a year, but there's going to be 2 JD Robs every year. You want to make sure you don't miss one. You can also do standing orders for children's authors. So any Karma Wilson, any Karen Beaumont, any Kevin Hankes, you can have them tell you that they're coming out, and you don't have to go out there and go, what new do I need to go search for this. I need to find out what this book is. So it's just a way, for me, I find it to be a way to save time. It's an efficiency thing.
Yeah. And if anybody out there's got a place they've been ordering from that I haven't mentioned, let me know. Maybe I want to use that also.
And, I'm sitting here thinking about standing orders, and I'm thinking, is there a way to make sure that every library in our system doesn't have the same titles, like for standing orders? Because if we all put the next Karma Wilson book on a standing order, then our collections are going to look very similar across the system, and we won't have the diversity we have. It's kind of, I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of what crossed my mind.
Right now, I can't, but I don't know if there's some way for that to be. But right now, no.
That's a really great point, Tammy. And when y'all are placing your orders, we would encourage you, especially if you are a Seek and Find library, to take a look at what people have. But that might be something that we can try and facilitate, right? It would be a form or a spreadsheet, that kind of thing. That's something I'm going to make a note, a Post-it note on that.
It's akin to the travel guides, where different libraries have elected to collect or select on different areas of the world. So yeah, that would be one option. For some of the bestsellers, again, to Jennifer's point, if it's a title or an author that you're going to get heavy use of in your library, then it's one that you probably want in your collection. Again, it's just, for me, it's a way to remember book 3 when I've bought book 1 and book 2.
Do you ever not buy book 3? Like, let's say you bought book 1 and it was heavily read, book 2 was less heavily read, and do you ever make a decision not to buy the next one in the series? Or what point do you cut off a series when you think that it's lived its life?
Personally, it depends on the use. If it's read, more than 5 times, depending on the size of the library that I'm in. If I'm in a smaller library, maybe it's read 3 times. That shows that, wow, that's a popular book. And if it's requested. So one of the things that Cheryl and I will be doing for all of you is looking at the SEK Automatically Yours and comparing it with the club holds, so that we are putting those two, so we have information about local demand, and we're making sure that our Automatically Yours standing order will meet that demand. So data-driven decision-making, we're kind of excited about that. Susan, you said, has anybody used libraryanded.com? Used them when you were a homeschooler?
Susan, do you want to go ahead and tell us some about libraryanded.com in case it's something that folks here would like to try? Sharon has pulled it up, and Susan says that they have huge discounts every day, 30 to 70% off. Good quality library bound books. Those library bound books are great for the kids department, nonfiction as well as children, as well as fiction for the children's department, and a wide variety. That's another great resource to add. Of course, we don't know. Susan, do you know how quick that shipping usually happens or anything like that? There we go. Orders are processed every business day at 9 a.m. So it looks like that's pretty quick turnaround. That's a pretty quick turnaround. So this might be something to go ahead and look at. Thank you for sharing, Susan. I've located the vendor resource that I mentioned. It is at Ingram. I'm going to go ahead and screen share just real quick to show you. We won't be able to get very far because I don't have a login. But if you go to ingramcontent.com, right there, click on a little drop down for services and go to libraries. You scroll down, they tell you some about what they have, but here are those nice tools: ordering tools, collection development, reliable resources, cataloging and processing. I believe they are under collection development. This is where some librarians have made curated lists. Click on learn more. These free curated lists are pretty great. Again, that's going to be everything from those upcoming bestsellers and upcoming other titles, and as well as if you're looking for a particular genre, they divide them that way as well.
I
So
can
that is
demo that for you if you want to stop screen sharing.
yes, thank you. I'm stopping sharing. Well, Sharon is going, I'm stopping sharing.
So they have the curated lists and they have the complementary lists are right here. So your high interest categories. And I use the hits and the greatest hits a lot, because you can see, you know, nonfiction sometimes is difficult to shop for. So this high interest list gives you 23 titles that you can look at that you might consider for January for nonfiction. Chasing History, Carl Bernstein. And you can see how to start review, but not a lot on order. So I would question how popular that one would be.
Use your discretion.
Yeah, but there are others. So top library titles. Okay, so let's do top. So here's 250 titles that are considered the top library titles. And again, this is libraries of all size, but still it can give you an idea of nonfiction titles that you might be interested in, or fiction titles, or, you know, graphic novels, large print, biographies. And the publication dates are all over the place. So they're saying this Madeline Miller book from 2012 is still a top selling piece of fiction.
And if you do want the very newest, that pub date over at the top of the spreadsheet there, you can sort by pub date.
Yes. So there's only 2 of these that are going to be published far into the future. The rest are coming out this month. But I guess the whole point being both Baker and Taylor and Ingram have a lot of resources to help you do your job easier, faster.
We would all love to have the time to go through all of the professional journals and their reviews there, but those are a great help. Looks like we have a question in the chat. Okay. Susan says that at Pleasanton, they are building their step readers, recently purchased step 1 and 2. I lost my spot in the chat. Okay. Purchase step 1 and 2 with a generous grant from SEK. Now we need to add our step 3 books. Do we have any suggestions or recommendations for that level or specific things to consider? I'm going to let Tammy and Cheryl take this one.
All of those step into reading books are really great. But the thing to keep in mind is leveled readers are different from publisher to publisher. So there is not a standard across all the publishing world for what constitutes a level 1, level 2, level 3. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't collect from different publishers or in different areas. It just means that you need to be aware of that when you're recommending books to beginning readers and let them figure out where they are, or you could use the 5-finger rule. So that means like on the first page, if they miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, then that book is too difficult. They need to go down a level. So those are some really great books to start off on your collection for leveled readers. I have sent out lists of leveled readers for different libraries recently and kind of put together a list of those. If you would like that, just send me an email, or I can put it with the list of recommendations that Amy is compiling, and y'all can have that list as well. It changes a lot. Right now, my favorites are what Mo Willems is doing with his beginning readers. I think that they're funny and engaging. So I think that there's some good stuff coming out right now in that area, better than what I've seen in the past.
Tammy, I have a question. I was told that beginner readers are often pre-K, 1 is 1st grade, 2 is 2nd grade, and by the time you get to 3 to 3rd grade, sometimes they're ready for chapter books. They're ready to graduate over to J fiction. Is that? But and I do understand it just depends on which company decides 1 is a 1. But do you feel there's any correlation with school?
Not really, no. And plus, in addition to that, different schools have different ways that they're looking at whether or not skill attainment for each individual student. So it depends on what system the school's using, even to assess the child to determine whether or not they've gained enough knowledge to pass 2nd grade, if you will. So that's not, I mean, there are some standards, but it depends on the school district whether or not they're following those standards. And the publishing industry absolutely is not adhering to the national standards at all. So really it's individualized, and that's not really helpful, except that if you have a collection of books that kids know, like the 1s, 2s, and 3s, and they can look at that if they're looking for that kind of book. However, I will say this. There are lots of other books that are written at a level that kids can read that veer off into easy chapter books, even some fairly simple J stuff. A lot of graphic novels are written at a level where children can read them. So do your best to encourage them to read what they're interested in and to have some suggestions ready in a different areas, and don't just keep them in the leveled readers. Oh, you're only ready for the ones, you're only ready for the twos, so that they have a variety of options to choose from. Cheryl, did you have anything to add?
No,
Thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome.
Do we have any more questions? Or alternately, Miss Cheryl, have you come up with any other things that you would like to share that are not in your notes today?
Oh. I can't think of anything right at the moment. No. But I will afterwards.
That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. And if you do, just let me know and we'll send out those crumbs with that resource list.
Okay.
And yes, we will include Tammy's list with that as well. Thank you,
Yeah.
Tammy. Well, I think I have everyone written down who is here today. Let me just double check that because I want to make sure that all of you get your CE credit. Yep, I have everybody.
There's
Gonna-
one more question in the chat,
Thank you, yay!
probably for Tammy. We have very few middle high school readers. Any suggestions for books or series or authors to draw them in?
Yeah, I have lots of suggestions for middle and high school readers. There's a lot of book awards coming out right now, and I strongly suggest you look at those. This is something that we've been working on, building some book lists, and they're on the SEKLS page. I don't know if I've updated them recently. My mind has been somewhere else, but I can definitely send that out to you. Right now, I think one of the most popular authors out there for middle and high school readers is Jason Reynolds. There's a lot of different writers that are coming to the forefront that are more diverse writers. And so I'm looking across that as well. Anne Claire Lamott has a 2-book series out right now that was fabulous, phenomenal. So I think that there's just the opportunity to read in a whole different venue right now because of some activism from more diverse authors. So I think it's a great time to look at middle and youth, middle school and high school readers. By readers, I think that, I hope you're talking about just books, but also in, don't forget your graphic novel collection. Don't neglect that, because that's going to be one of your most popular collections out there.
Okay, here's another question. This is for Cheryl. Is there a difference in the quality with respect to binding and wear of the different large print resources?
Well, as far you have the hardcovers and the paperbacks, and the hardcovers, of course, are going to be much better. The paperbacks anymore, if you don't have a lot of use of them, they're okay. Like in a library where they're going to sit. I don't like lots of them in the rotation because they're glued together anymore and the gluing jobs are getting worse and worse, and the pages will start coming out easily, sometimes when they're just brand new. And also they'll get broke, the back, what do you call it? The spine sometimes will break. But if they're in a library where they're going to, my books are in those boxes, they travel in the van, they go into libraries, they sit, they get taken out by tons and tons of people, and they get lots more wear and lots more rough use than just your books in the library. So your paperback books cost a lot less. And I think in a library, small libraries, probably, especially, they are okay. And when you can get the hardbacks. Large print.
Cheryl, would you recommend, I
Some
know the large print books often have
Size four.
great sales at the end of the year. So
Yeah.
take advantage of those.
Yeah.
And there used to be a quality difference between Gale and Centerpoint, and that
size.
I've not noticed that anymore. So
Okay, your 8.5 by 11 books. I will take that. That's the size of a regular piece of paper. They have been, I don't know how that, they've just been copied, reprinted, copied out on full-size paper like this, and then bound. I didn't think the page size. I don't think there's there's no difference in the story. I don't think they've changed, the format as the book, if it's been shortened or anything like that. It's just that they've been reprinted, because that's probably, I'm not
Also-
saying they're, yeah, they're not bad. There's nothing wrong with them. I have a few, and that's all I could get when I was trying to replace old titles, especially in Western. So I got them, and they've been fine. So I don't know what to tell you as far as just that's your own decision there as to if you're not happy with the size, if you're not happy with the quality, then yeah, pay attention. Yeah, there's so many things to pay attention to, and none of that I've really gotten into, and I can't even think about the things until I'm sitting here looking at books of what I want to order. Then I say, oh, I think maybe I don't want that. It's not that I don't like little mass paperbacks. If we can get something else, unless that's what they're wanting to order. And there's so many things to pay attention to, but there's nothing wrong with those. They've just been reprinted stories. They're fine. It's all in what you want.
Good advice to remember to pay attention to those product details with the dimensions. Tammy has put in a reminder that you can be taking a look at what to order for summer 2022. Maybe there are some book lists, whether that's from the summer reading collaborative, or I know that some libraries also take a look or collaborate with their school district on things that students may be expected to read over the summer before their new semester in the fall. The theme for summer reading this year, if you are participating in the collaborative summer library program, I think that's I think that's what they call it, the SRP. The theme this year is Oceans of Possibilities. So take that however you like. But there are oceans of possibilities for that theme as well, if you wanted to get ahead in ordering there.
The Kentucky Department of Libraries and Archives put together a fabulous list that we were allowed to put on our page. And I wanted you to take a look at that if you haven't and you're thinking about collecting in this area, because they've really expanded the topic into some areas that you maybe hadn't thought about before. So that can really inform your collection whenever you're thinking about what's coming up, what programs you're going to do, not just summer reading, but all your programs. Really, whenever you have a program, Sharon and I were talking about this the other day, you should pull a book display for every program you have. And what a great opportunity to think about what's in your collection and whether or not it needs to be updated. So if you have a program that's about home repair in your collections from the 1980s, it's time to update. So, you know, those things can really guide your collection development and inform where you're at in a different way.
Oh, I see where Susan replied, they just didn't fit on the shelving well. I can relate to that because I have to have books that fit in my boxes. And I get into that problem with children's books, and I have to try and remember to see what size they are. So again, if you have very many of those books and you like them or don't and order them, you could make maybe an oversized section if they're not fitting there and put those books that don't fit. You know, if it's just one or two, we'll just put them on edge, I guess. But if you have several of them, maybe you could make an oversized section. I don't know.
And that's a mistake we've
It'd be-
all made. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, I love this book, and it comes
Yeah.
in and it's a coffee table book, and
Yeah.
it's oversized and it doesn't fit
Yeah.
anywhere, and
There.
it's totally not appropriate for a public library because it's going to
Yeah.
break after the first circ. We've all been there. We've all done that.
Yeah.
Andrea, that was like the best comment of the day. Thank you for posting that.
Can't you just put your, you know, if you have Yellowstone on DVD, just put that in the display, or Outlander, you know, Beefcakes and Kilts. And as somebody who's currently weeding our library collection, I always try to anticipate what I'm going to be removing and get a couple of new books purchased or ordered so that when I decimate a collection, I have something new for that area.
We're coming up on the end of our hour here. Really appreciate all of you showing up. I hope that this has been useful information, and please remember that we will have more useful information coming your way via email soon. After we get all of that compiled. This has been recorded. And so if you need a recording, we can get that to you. I'm thinking maybe we'll be able to get it on YouTube. We'll see. We'll see. I'm still learning, guys, so thank you for being patient. If there are any more questions, throw them out there. Otherwise, thanks again for coming. And thank you so much to Cheryl Korte for being our expert today. And we will see you all again soon.